Hello guys, welcome to Updev channel. In the previous video, we talked about class and object, which is one of the fundamental object-oriented programming system principle. In today's video, we will be discussing about the another OOPS principle, that is encapsulation. In order to understand this feature or this principle in much better way, I would recommend you to go through the class and object-oriented programming system principle. If you haven't watched that video, please go through that video before, or you, if you want to understand the encapsulation concept in a much better way. The link is provided in the description for the class and object principle. Let us discuss today about the encapsulation principle. Encapsulation, it is actually a process of bundling the data and the code. Yeah, it's actually a process of bundling the data and the code that act on the data into a single unit. Okay, we know that in object-oriented programming system we have the classes, right? So a class will be having the properties and also the methods that act on the properties. So basically, data will be there, and also the methods that act on the data will also be there. So class is a good example of encapsulation, object-oriented programming principle that it supports. The class is supporting the encapsulation principle. Okay, in a regular world we see the capsule, right? Capsule, it is a good example where the different medicines are bundled together. That itself, it is a capsule. In the same way, class is also capsuled to support both the data and the methods in a single unit. Okay, where the data is called as the properties and the core that acts on the data is called methods. Okay, so in a well encapsulated class, right, if a class is following the object oriented programming encapsulation principle, the data fields in that class will be declared as private and methods will be declared as public. So we will talk about this private and public in the future videos. But for now, let us understand this way. Private means if a property is declared as a private in a class, then it cannot be accessed or it will not be visible to another classes. Okay. So if a method is declared as public or a property is declared as public, then only that will be available or that will be accessible to the entities that are outside the class. Okay, the let us understand only that part about private and public for now. There is another access specifier in Java that is protected. We will talk about all these access specifiers in a separate video. Okay, so the main intention of private is to restricting the access to other classes. So encapsulation giving the advantage of the hiding data members of a class to other classes as they can be accessed only by the public method. So if a property is defined as private, so it cannot be accessible, or in other words, the data being hidden from the members of the other classes. It can be accessed only by the public methods. So you can write in your public methods if you want to allow the other classes to access your private data members or not. That logic will be always be there. Okay, that is about the encapsulation. So as we talked about encapsulation till now, we'll have to write a class. Class is a good example of encapsulation, right? So we'll have to write a class and we have to declare some properties and we have to write some methods in the class, right? So let us write some sample Java program to understand this in much better way. Okay, so let me write a class. Let us follow this one. I'll explain what is this class, what is this person. Okay, let us follow as it is. Okay, we have to declare a class like this. Okay, we have to give a class keyword. Class is a keyword and this is the class name. we are starting the class declaration here. So I want to write a class with person, named person. So in that person class, I want to mention uh, the person is and also the person name. Okay, these are the two properties I want to declare in the person class. Okay, so these two properties we are declaring here. Int age, generally number, age will be number, right? That's why we are giving the int data type, and also the name will be sequence of characters, right? That's why we are giving its data type as string. Okay, after that we have to mention the access specifier, right? That is the principle of encapsulation. So let us mention in the same way. So once the properties are declared, we have to provide some methods to access those properties, to update the data of those properties, right? So let us add some methods. I want to mention one set method to update the data, is one get method to get the age value. Okay, so let us mention like this: public void set age. Set age, it will actually take in age argument. Okay, so it will assign this to the argument is this is to the this property or this class, the current, this means the current class instance. Okay, this dot age means the property which we have declared at the top of the class. So whatever the functional argument we are getting to this set is, that will be assigned to this class instance variable. Okay, once we assign the data, we have to return, we have to write one more method to get the age. Okay, so here get age is my new method to get the age, and age we have to return an age, right? So what is the return type of the age? What is the data type of the age? Int. So that we have to mention as a return type for this method. Okay, see here we are declaring the properties as with private access specifier and methods with public access specifier. We are accessing those private data members only by the public methods. Okay, let us write two more methods, set and get for age, for name as well. Okay, public void set name, it will take string name. Okay, this is another argument. So this will assign to the current instance name variable the functional argument. Okay, next public string, this will return the string, right? Get name, return name. Okay, so that's all about this class. Okay, let me save this class. Person.java. Okay, let me, I have saved it, right? Let me go and compile this class. Java C, we have to use the Java C command, right? See why it is showing this error. Class person etech Java, I have saved it, right? So let me save it somewhere else where I'm trying to compile. Okay, source programs I have to do it, right? Let me go and open it there from there. In source programs we have it. Let me open it. Okay, now let me try to compile. See, this class is compiled, but if you try to execute this one, what will happen? See this one, main method not found in class person, because Java command it will initiate the JVM, right? So JVM will look for a class. In this class it will look for the main method, but we have not written any main method, right? So let us write the main method now. Public static void main string args. If you want to know more details about why we have to write the main method like this, I have uploaded already another video that explains the detailed information about the main method. um, I will be mentioning the link of that video in the description. Please go through that video. Okay, so in the person class we have written a main method here, right? So in the main method, what we have to write? So this main method will be called by the JVM now. But who will be invoking or who will be initializing your person class? You only have to invoke or initialize your person class. Okay, person P is equal P1 is equal to new person. Okay. See, whenever we write like this, right? We'll see. Okay. So what will happen? Now it is successfully compiled. Okay, it is executed as well, but there is no output. Okay, we'll see. Okay, let me write one more method. Okay, public void display employee, display person. Okay, when I'm displaying person, system dot out dot println. Okay, this dot or else get is get name. Okay, so let us compile this one again. So no errors, right? It is compiled dot plus file is generated. Now we have written these methods, right? But we have to call these methods to set data to these variables, right? So as these are the instance methods, right? We don't have any static keyword along with these method signatures, right? So these are called as instance methods. So in order to call an instance method of a class, we have to create an instance to that class. Okay. So this is the instance creation. Okay. This is instance creation. So whenever we call like this person P1 is equal to new person, okay, it will first of all JVM will try to check, okay, whether any default constructor is provided in the class. Okay, default constructor means without having any arguments. Okay, like this is called as constructor. Okay, so if you have provided any constructor in a class, JVM will call that constructor and it will create an object, okay, in the heap memory like this. Okay, let me go there. See this, here we are calling person Ramu is equal to new person, right? So with the 10 comma Ramu. Okay, this is another example where we are initializing the data of the person object, with the 10 and Ramu as the data members, and we are referring, and that object will be stored in the heap memory, okay, in JVM. And that location where the data for the Ramu is stored in heap memory, that location's address will be referred by this reference variable. Okay, Ramu is called as reference variable that is pointing to the location where 10 comma Ramu are stored in the heap. Okay, in the same way, here we are just declaring without any data. Okay, so a new person object will be created in the heap memory. Okay, without any with only the default values. Okay, in the person class we have these two variables, right? So, but in the constructor, we have not mentioned any data, right? So it goes to the person class and it takes all these arguments and assign the memory allocation in the heap memory for all these arguments, and that location will be stored here in the P1. Okay, now I have setters methods, right? Okay, so P1 dot set is, okay, I'll mention 10. Okay, P1 dot set name, I'll mention Ramu. Now if I set this one, right, what will happen? We'll see. Nothing is printed, no errors, right? So I am able to call these setter methods for the instance P1. Okay, let me name this as Ramu. Okay, so I have Ramu instance whose age is 10 and whose name is Ramu. Okay, that's why I am creating the data with the 10 comma Ramu, assigning those data to the class level properties, and the new object will be created in the heap, and that will be having the 10 comma Ramu, and that location is referring by this Ramu reference variable. In the same way, I have another person Raju. Okay, for Raju also I want to store the data. Okay, Raju dot set age. His age is 11 and his name is Raju. Okay, so let us run it now. There is no problem, right? So let us print whatever we assign. Okay, so in order to print the data of an object, we have written this method, right? So let us call that method Ramu dot get display person, because these are all methods for each instance, right? So whenever you call this get display person, right, display person on Ramu object, it goes to that particular instance and gets the data from the heap memory and prints it. In the same way, if you call Raju dot display person, it will not call Ramu's data. It will, because we are calling this on the Raju reference variable. It tries to get the data from heap for the from the location where the Raju reference variable is referring. Okay, let us try now. See this, whatever the data we assign, right? 10 Ramu, 11 Raju, that is printed. Okay. So this is a good example where we have declared all our data members as private and all our methods that access the data members as public, and we are accessing the data members from the public methods. Okay, this is the main basic class which we write in any Java application. Okay, this we call it as Java bean as well. Okay, along with the class declaration we mention, right, we mention the data like properties and the setter getters and some other methods. We are calling, we are creating an object, right, here to that person class. We are setting the data to the instance variables, and we are getting the data from another utility method display person. So along with these entities, we also write something else, something more in the classes. Okay, in general, right, we generally start the class declaration with package declaration. Okay, so package means if at all we are having so many classes, right, we group them into separate folder structures or separate packages. Okay, all the related classes will be grouped into one folder. All the classes related to employee will be into another folder. So in that way, whenever we mention like this, right, package com dot person, okay, like this, if you mention, a folder will be created during your runtime, and all the class files will be created in the com dot person folder. In the same way, if you have another class, right, not, you cannot have more than one package declaration. Okay, suppose if you have another class customer com dot customer, you can mention the classes will be created in the customer folder. Okay. After package declaration, we have to use the import statement. Okay, suppose import is actually required to import the other Java classes, either built-in or the standard Java classes, or your own Java classes into your current program. Let's say, for example, there are some built-in here we are using one Java class, predefined class, right? So string is a predefined class that is available in lang package. Okay, java.lang package. So that package we have to import it here. Okay, java.lang.string. So if you import it here like this, the string class will be available to be used in your class. Okay, in the same way we have the uh, predefined classes or the built-in classes available for file handling operations in java.io package. All the classes, if you mention star here, right, all the classes available in this package, java.io package, will be imported into your class. In the same way, uh, if you want to handle the collection entities, right, java.util.star package, java.util package is there, all the collection classes will be imported into your class. Okay, but here as we are using string class, right, string class in our person class, but we are not declaring any import to use that string, to import the string. But how is it coming or useful in your, how can you use it in your class? Just because in any Java class you can the default import statement will be java.lang package. Okay, which means that java.lang, whatever the classes available in java.lang package, automatically imported to your class. You don't have to manually import them. That's why string is available even if you have not written the import java.lang. Okay, that is about the package statements and the import statements. After that, we declare a class, right? Class declaration starts with the class, and you can mention the access specifiers also here, like is it a private class, or is it a public class, or is it a protected class. Okay, we will talk about protected, private, and public, or what will happen if we don't mention in the future, if we don't mention any access specifier in the future videos. Okay. After that, we declare the data members, right? So here comes the constructor part. Okay. So if I don't provide any constructor like this, okay, let us see. Here I am calling new person, zero argument or the default constructor, right? So let us see whether my program will run now or not. See, it is getting compiled. It is getting executed as well. But where is this particular constructor available? It is not available in your class, right? So it will be, if at all, whenever we call new person, right, JVM will looks at your class whether any zero argument constructor available or any constructor is available in the class. Okay, if at all no constructor is available, then JVM will provide a zero argument constructor and allocate a memory to that constructor, allocate a memory to the data members available in that class in the heap memory. Okay, but if at all you provide some constructor, like for example, constructor is a special method. Okay, it will not be having any return type. Okay, but let me write like this. I want my constructor to accept data variables like this: int age, comma, string name. Okay, so my constructor, I want to construct the every instance with two data variables. Okay, whatever the data comes into this constructor, I will assign to the instance variable, the current instance variable. So if I compile my program now, what will happen, we'll see this, what it is saying: construct a person in class, person cannot be applied to the given types. See here we are calling zero argument constructor, but we have a constructor with which is accepting parameters, two parameters. So whenever a parameterized constructor is provided in a class, JVM will not provide or will not supply the zero argument or the default constructor. So you have to provide the data to it. Okay. So I want to construct the Ramo object with the 10 comma is in this way. Okay. So let us comment these two lines. So I want to construct the Raju instance also like this 11 comma Raju. Okay. In the same way 10 comma Ramu. Now let us see what will happen. See the program is compiled now. Let us see the same output. So this is another way to construct an object. Okay. Either you can initialize the object state with the default values like this if you don't provide any data, or if at all there is no constructor, zero argument constructor will be available and supplied by the JVM. Then the object initialization will be done by assigning the default values to the data members of that class. But if you pass like this, whatever the values you pass, right, these values will be stored in your instance during the initialization phase when the memory is getting allocated. Okay, that is about the constructor. Okay, along with the constructor we can also write some static methods or static blocks. Okay, also in the class. Okay. Okay, I think that's all. We pretty much covered the most of the concepts related to the encapsulation and how we will write a class, how the object initialization happens through constructor, through parameterized constructor, through setter methods, and how to get the data, what all things we will write, the package statements, import statements, static blocks, static methods, variable declarations, class level property declarations, constructors, setter getters, utility methods, and how to create an instance, how to call the methods, and all right. All these topics we have seen in this top in today's video. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. If you found this topic is helpful, please give it a like. Please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.